Good day, everyone. Today we are doing Instagram Live about a very exciting topic close to our heart so much as event professionals. I have a very special guest today, Heidi from the Mice Guru, who is here and she will be with us. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Judy. Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here today, Heidi. We're back on our Instagram Live series.
Hey, Irina, it's great to see you. And I'm also very, very happy. It's always so much fun to do Agile Lives with you.
Yeah, likewise. I really missed the good energy of the talk and the community. So I see already a couple of familiar faces from our previous series. Hello, everyone, and big welcome. So I want to introduce the topic, which is today pitching in times of Corona. And it's a topic sometimes a bit controversial in the events industry because it requires a lot of work and there's a lot of uncertainty. And right now during Corona, it's when is the right time to pitch. So let's go straight to questions, right?
Let's have some fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What is a pitch and when are we actually pitching?
Well, a pitch is basically any attempt you make at making a potential client believe in what you have to offer. Basically, what you are selling, what you are offering, make them feel like they need what you have and excite them about a collaboration. Whether it's event services or any type of service, you know, a sales pitch is, generally speaking, it's the same in all industries. You just need to create that excitement and the initial interest for the client.
Mm-hmm. And there are different types of pitches. So what are the different types of pitches?
Well, there's a very large variety of different pitches, but for the sake of our audience and our event props community, I would focus on two that are very important for us, which is, in my opinion, first of all, the promo pitch, which what I call the presentation on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
So the way you present yourself to a client in a short period of time. And then a specific pitch would be a pitch that is concerning a specific event or a specific service that is requested. Like for you, for example, it could be someone requesting content or just, you know, delivering social media for events or any type of service that you offer. For me, it might be a request for an incentive or a conference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, which one is harder and which one requires more preparation?
Well, obviously the specific one will be much harder because you'll have to dive really deep into what they want, into the actual needs, all of the specific details, how you can deliver something that is exciting enough for them. You will often be in a competition, so you know you need to see the bigger picture. You will need to learn a lot more about the client and about the specific request that you received. However, don't underestimate the importance of a promo pitch. It's also very important to be well prepared. If I'm pitching my services to you and you are basically organizing conferences, never have anything to do with incentives, then it makes no sense that I talk about a wide variety of type of events or all the things I could possibly do or offer you, you know, if you don't care about them. If it's not your business, then I'm already wrong to begin with. So I should do my homework. I should first go in and check who you are, perhaps ask you personal questions if I have a chance to do that, or at least go into your website, your social media, you know, try and find out a little bit more about the type of things that you do and how I can help you do that, or what would be interesting for you to get presented from my end.
And so you just mentioned you need to do the homework, you need to go on the website, you need to learn about the client. So how do you get to know your client? Because clients are busy, you can't send them like 10 questions, they expect you to read their minds.
Well, actually, you should, Irina. You really should push the clients to answer more questions, as many questions as you need to be answered. And what I usually do when I get a request is I create one email with very short bullet point questions that I need in terms to fully understand what they're actually asking for. Because if it's too general, you won't be able to deliver exactly what they need. You might actually hit the ball completely wrong. You might deliver something that was not at all what they had in mind, right? So you need those answers. You need to ask about anything from the type of delegates, the budget range, the age group, what they have done before, like where they have been, you know, the core focus of the event, what their targets are, their goals are, etc., etc. If you have no idea about those things, there's no way you can deliver a really good pitch for their event. But if you don't get as many answers as you would hope for, which happens obviously, then at least do, as I said like before, go and check their website. Reference projects are always very insightful. Like, for example, if you Google them to begin with, and you find reference projects, like they worked with a specific global client that you obviously know, you see some images or videos of previous events they've been a part of, or previous things they've done, then you immediately get an idea of the type of things that they usually deliver and where you should go with your services. But don't be blindly affected by it either. Just, you know, remember to be creative and remember to be you, and deliver what you want to show them that possibly is more exciting than what they've come up with themselves.
Yeah, I like this idea to checking out their previous projects actually, and kind of understanding their style a bit. So actually it's very good point. A pitch solves a problem. And what do you do when the pitch has too many objectives? For example, we want to increase brand awareness, we want to increase loyalty, we want to have high participation, and we want press coverage, and then more. So how do you handle this such too many objectives?
Well, first of all, I believe that having a dialogue about realistic expectations is a good starting point. Many big global clients will actually already know how to differentiate between the different goals that they want to achieve, and they will most likely not put all of those into one event. And there is a way, obviously, there are many ways to connect several of those goals into one event, but to have a focus on absolutely everything, I would hardly ever recommend. So I would definitely have a discussion with them. Okay, what is your core focus here? Like, is it mostly about the brand? Is it about your employees? Do you need the loyalty, the satisfaction? Is it, you know, do you need to reward them to continue their hard work? Or what are we actually focusing on here? And you need to develop that as your main core focus. And then the core focus will obviously attract a lot of the other things. If you're working on an amazing brand awareness, that might automatically already attract a good press coverage, you know, things like that. But you need to focus on one key goal to begin with. Also, it's very much depending on the size of the event, the budgets, often the outcome, you know. You cannot do everything all at once. Everybody knows that. You cannot do everything with one event. So it's important to keep talking about that and figure out what the most important is for the client.
And what do you do when there is no budget given?
That's the funny one. You say no. Thank you. Bye. No. We have all types of budget ranges. With lower budgets, obviously, you can try to be as creative as possible. And we've all been in that situation many times. So the expectations of clients are often very high. And when you then ask about the budget, it will be tiny or about, you know, it would cover perhaps 10% of what they described in their expectations, right? So again, really, realistic dialogue. It depends really on the client. If they are global big corporations who do a lot of events, you might not encounter that issue as often as with smaller agencies. You know, often small agencies work on a case-to-case basis, and they send you a request for, let's say, I don't know, 600 euro person, 5-day program, VIP. They're very, very important, you know. So everybody is always a VIP in my inbox.
Yeah.
So you need to again talk, tell them about what's realistic, and then tell them what you can offer within their budget range, and if that is acceptable to them, or otherwise you should just decline. If their expectations remain unrealistic, then there is no point in putting all your time and energy into developing something that you know they will not confirm anyway.
So you say it's important to have budget given in the pitch. You're not working on the pitch unless you have a budget.
Well, I try in as much as I can to get at least a budget range, you know. I explain to a client, especially if they start with, oh my God, they are very important, they've been everywhere, they've seen everything, you know, it's nothing new. Then I would tell them, okay, we have different ranges of VIP service. We have VIP programs for that amount of days that start at 2,000 euro per person. We have VIP programs that go up to 60,000 euro a person. Where are we on that scale? At least to have a kind of feel for what they want. Initially, most of them will probably say 60,000. Oh my God, like, no way, no, we are nowhere near them. You know, we are not even at the 2,000, you know, our VIP is a little bit more modest. It'll be about 1,000. Okay, so then you immediately know, okay, we are not working on that level. It makes no sense for me to get rates for presidential suites at 5-star hotels and deliver services that are extremely exclusive and completely privatized, etc., etc. Then I know what I have to work with. If I don't know anything, I might suggest a very VIP program, and then they really don't have the budget for it. And in the end, they go to an all-inclusive resort in, I don't know, Mexico, Mallorca, whatever. You know, so I need to really have an understanding of what I'm supposed to deliver, and budget range is a very important factor in that. If they really don't want to answer, it still happens, but most of the people I've worked with lately, actually they understand that it's quite important to have a budget. But if they still don't, and they're very secretive about it, because there's still some people who want to test the waters, you know, like, okay, well, maybe she will deliver something amazing for 500 euros. And if I said 1,000, she will just make everything more expensive. That's not how it works. It's really not. We try to add the most value for each budget, right? So I don't know what this idea is about people, I don't know, testing waters and trying to not get cheated. But if you already have trust issues with your partner to begin with, then you probably shouldn't be working together. I'm just saying that if I don't know much, I will go somewhere in the middle. I will deliver a program that is average, that I would say is mid-level, that works for the majority of our programs, and that is estimated on the type of client I'm dealing with. If I see, okay, if I have some reference projects, or I see who they've worked with before and the type of projects they've delivered, I can immediately have an idea in my mind, okay, that's kind of the value of that project, or the budgets they usually work with, and then I would try to deliver something similar.
Yeah. I like your range, like asking for a range. Actually, it's a very
you don't need the exact budget, but at least like what are we working with?
Yeah. Okay, so if anyone from the audience has any question, that's your chance to ask now. We have more questions coming, but if you have a specific one, please don't be shy and ask. Next question is, what is considered a pitching no-go? What makes you lose interest and dismiss the pitch?
Well, from a personal point of view, and probably the case for anyone listening to pitch, is the biggest no-go for me would be someone rambling about all the products and services they offer. Like if I said, we just opened the chat and I'm like, hey, I'm Heidi, so I make conferences and I do incentives and I also do creative meeting design, and you know, I can help you with virtual events and we can do product launches and brand activations, and I've done this and this and this and this, and our destinations are this and this and this and this and this, you know. No, you first need to build a relationship. You have to have a personal connection, and many people forget that. It's kind of strange that they do, but many people forget at the beginning of a pitch to actually have a moment to connect with the person you are pitching to. Yeah. It's super important. You know, introduce yourself. How are you today? How is the weather? Whatever, a little bit of small talk to connect. And it even gives you an opportunity, if you had some doubts about what they really need in the preparation of your pitch, it still gives you an opportunity to ask a question or two and to adjust your narrative according to that. So that for me is the most important, and people who don't do that, I lose them after their introduction immediately. Like if they just start, you know, I have this and this and this, and products and products and products, and I don't care. I'm not interested in all of your products and all of your services. I'm interested in what I need. So the biggest mistake is not focusing on the actual client's needs.
And in the other way around, what will make you to dismiss a potential client pitch that you say?
A request, you mean?
Huh?
If I receive a request, yes. You mean saying no to pitch for them?
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's really difficult. It's a very, very thin line to walk on, yeah. And a balance every single time. Sometimes you get requests where you know you are in a huge competition with endless numbers of agencies, DMCs, whatever, working on the same thing with crazy deadlines, with very tight budgets. You already know from the beginning that it's a huge challenge to even be considered for that project. So then naturally you would kind of want to say no, if you believe that the chances are minimal and the time and money you invest from your end are quite significant. It needs to be, you know, the probability needs to be high enough for it to work out for you, right? So basically, I would say no to a lot of those, especially copy-paste requests. You can notice immediately if someone somewhere has already been working on something and the client comes to you with a brief and it has details about Norway that they would have never have known on their own. So you know they've already sent it to other people. Yeah, they've sent it around and they're just sending it to you, and it's immediately obvious that they just want to check if you can give them a better price. Then first of all, for out of respect for the other DMCs or agencies or whoever who has been working on it before, I will not take that request. I will immediately answer the client. It looks like you've been in contact with someone already. You know, in Norway, we work tightly together. We are more colleagues than competitors. Production time is very valuable and very costly. So we don't want to all be working on the same thing. We share information with each other. That's one thing I do. And if it's just unrealistic, very unrealistic requests, there's no point in trying to start working on them. If you have had an initial dialogue and the expectations are still not within what you can deliver, then why try and force yourself into that? There are a lot of different agencies, DMCs, service providers on all types of different levels, and there are things each of us don't deliver. Like, for example, I get requests that are very, very touristic, like from tour operators who, for example, have one incentive a year. They usually do leisure tourism groups, round trips with buses, and suddenly they have one corporate request and they expect the same type of services as for a leisure group. I don't do that. I'm sorry. I want to work on a corporate request that is, that concerns goals, branding, corporate identity, create something specific. I don't do bus round trips and city sightseeing on a hop on, hop off bus. That's just not my thing. So know what you do, know what you deliver, what you want to work on. Also, it needs to excite you in a way.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you will not have the creativity to deliver anything really. And the chances of winning it will be very low.
Absolutely. I interviewed Kevin Jackson 2 years ago about pitching and whether agencies should charge for pitching, and well, generally not, but there were like a lot of other aspects that came up during this chat. For example, recognizing the toxic pitch when you shouldn't pitch. After our chat, I will share it in stories. The 9 points plus are on my blog. So for example, he said, if there are 3 other agencies pitching, then you shouldn't pitch, because it obviously makes your chances very low. Then if there is no budget, for example, given, and if you don't have a relationship with the client, it's also a no. And this is, you also mentioned, and I think this is so important, because I've been in this situation when I received like a request, an intent of interest, and then you go all in this, but you don't have this relationship, Yes, you might think, okay, I have a chance, maybe it's a chance to build a relationship, it's a foot in the door, but no, you need to have this relationship. And another point was that the client is not available. So as you mentioned, when you ask questions, you want to have a discussion, the client really needs to be available, because if they don't give you the space and the time to get to know you, the question is it a good sign?
I get so many requests with a deadline in 4 days, and then the first follow-up email that I usually send really within, let's say, 1 or 2 hours. I would already send like an acknowledgement of receiving the request. Immediately I get automatic answers, out on holiday, whatever. And I'll be back on the day that you're supposed to deliver your project, or even later. So they just said, yeah, while I'm on holiday, let them work on it, let everything be ready when I get back, so it will be in my inbox when I arrive. But that's also not how it works. Right. It needs to be a communication. There needs to be some kind of process going on in the initial production phase. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. But I agree with everything you said, and we mentioned it already. Yeah, definitely. But getting your foot in the door is also important. But then you would, again, go towards a promo pitch rather than an event-specific pitch. So you can answer your client. In this case, I don't believe we have had enough contact yet, but I'm happy to introduce you to what we actually do. And then you schedule your promo pitch, and you get to know each other better before working on an actual event. That I definitely agree with.
That's very good. Yeah, very good answer and approach. So how do you build a pitch? How do you start?
First of all, you have to learn everything there is to learn about your client. That's your first phase, always. Like we mentioned, Google them, website, social media, ask a bunch of questions if you have a chance, get that initial conversation going. And then what is absolutely most important in my eyes is to not compare yourself with anything else or any competitors or anything that is already going on regarding to this project. If you have been made aware of something, the most important to not obstruct your own creativity is exactly that. You need to sit and almost meditate, like, who is this client? What is it that they need, they want? What makes them happy? What do I have that can change their mind or convince them about something, you know, and you sit and you have a creative brainstorming session and you design the project with your full creativity mode. Like you have all the information from the brief and from who the client is, but you don't limit yourself to that information. You think, what would I want? What would I do? But also based on who the client is, what is it that will be most exciting for them? And what can I offer that they most likely haven't considered or haven't thought about yet? You know, like in terms of brand activations or product launches, what can I contribute in the place where I am and the services that I have on offer? What can I show them that will give them this type of aha moment? Like, oh my God, yes, that's a great idea. And it might be something really small that pulls them over, you know, over the line and makes them decide to work with you. So it's very important to come from it has to come out of your own creativity. Never compare. Exactly, Denise, comparison leads to non-productivity. Definitely agree with you. Never compare yourself to competitors, and never, even if you don't have the intention to copy anybody, the information that you've already absorbed subconsciously affects how you will create your project or your proposal. It really does. You can say that it doesn't, but it will. It will show in what you deliver. And you don't want to be an agency, DMC, or, you know, you don't want your service to look like anybody else's. You don't want to deliver anything that is anywhere near to what everybody else is offering, because you want to stand out. It's your creativity that counts. So definitely this is the most important in building a pitch. And then you don't only have to be very creative, obviously, but you have to, after you create, you have to make sure that you solve all of their problems. You answer all of their needs. Don't forget anything, you know. Even when I request services, I see very often proposals that are way too general, that are copy-paste, that are just, you know, not tailored to what I'm actually asking for. And that's the first reason for anybody to dismiss the service as a whole. You know, you need to really go into the details and answer every single question that they have in their brief, you know. And not only that, not only solve their problems and their needs, but then after that you need to add value, you know. And you add value with your touch of creativity, of course, with different things that they didn't come up with delivering, as we all know, over expectation. It's quite important to manage to do that in at least one aspect, you know. Add something that makes them feel like, okay, you really understood us and you took it one level further, you know. That's the most important.
Just to add to the previous point, you mentioned is to offer something that you have the destinations they might have not thought about it. Previous chat about incentives, we talked about CSR, corporate social responsibility initiatives. So this is something that clients usually don't ask about proactively, or sustainability. And it's always when you suggest something and it's creative, they say, oh, that's cool, let's do this. So that's one of these things. And in terms of pitch delivery, do you do video? Do you do PowerPoint presentation? Do you do a Word format?
Well, that's changed a lot now.
Yeah.
Before, we always go back to that, but before, when we all were crazy busy with all our projects and all our tight deadlines, we rarely ever had the chance to actually see each other, communicate through video or any other way than just email. So you had to deliver visually exciting presentations, and we do that by delivering PowerPoints with lots of video and images, but also through our online platform, where you get a link, you get access to the platform, and then you can check out everything that we've created. But you rarely had the chance to really connect with someone on a personal level. So now lately, I mean, there haven't been that many active requests. So I'm now more talking about promo pitching, but people have been more open to get to know you and to get inspired, because, you know, they know that at some point they will need to get back back to work and they would like some fresh ideas, some new inspiration. They might have forgotten about your destination or your services. They need something that will refresh their minds. And also you might have developed your services. You might, have now a lot of different and new things on offer that you'd like to communicate with them. So lately you get more understanding for the promo pitch and more acceptance. So then it would be a video call, a Zoom call, a Skype, and LinkedIn, on the online platforms that have been designed by IMAX and M&I and all of those guys. You actually always have a video chat option now. It would have never been the case before, right? Obviously, you would go to the live trade shows, but other than that, very rarely you would have video calls. For us, it would only happen if it's a significant large project with a large team working on it and everybody comes together and is in different locations. Then we would have video chats about it. But if it's one person in an agency requesting something from one person on our side, then it's mostly it's always been mostly email and follow-up email, and even many people don't really enjoy follow-up calls anymore because they're so busy. They want to be able to decide themselves when they will open the project, when they will continue working on it. They have so much stuff going on that they don't want to be taking calls all day from everybody they're working with around the world. So it's very tricky. You can always ask if they want a follow-up call or they want to discuss, but don't just go calling around. Yeah, because that won't help.
I had like two big projects actually. I never spoke to the client on the phone. It was all actually social media, email, send me your pitch, we love it, let's do this. And one of them I did offer a call and she said, well, send me what you have and then if necessary we'll have a call. So I kind of get how busy they are. You can't push for a call, it's just they're too busy. And you just take what you get, and if they're happy, then you don't need a call. You don't need a call. So it's it's interesting dynamics. So yeah, now obviously a very different time, as you mentioned, about active pitching, and we are pitching differently during the Corona period. Are we more open to non-solicited pitches? Which I can speak for as media, I get a lot of them right now, especially in the past 2 weeks. I don't know what happened, but I just it's just the time now for people are kind of feeling back to business. So they want to secure business for next month, next year. So what do you think about unsolicited pitches?
Well, actually, now I can only speak for myself, not for the rest of the world, but I have been more open to them than I used to because I have more time, and because I want to, even if the chances are smaller, I want to, try and have a go at it, because what else will we do in the meantime? I mean, we're working very hard on product development and on promo pitching and online seminars and things like that, but I am definitely considering requests that I wouldn't have considered before, and sometimes it's with a surprisingly good outcome. It might be something small that leads on to bigger things later. But that doesn't mean that you have to accept everything. I do, however, deliver more also than I would have before. If, for example, I get a request for Norway, a general request for an incentive, and I have enough information, but I can, for example, suggest different types of destinations. I can offer them one fjord style program, one Northern Lights style program, one very urban program, which actually, you know, answers to the same needs they have, or, you know, works with the same goals or concepts, but in different locations, where beforehand I would only have offered them one destination. And if they didn't like it, well, then they didn't like it, but now they have more options to choose from. Right? And that actually increases my chances. But it's also, again, finding that balance, because if you offer too much, then it will get too confusing. Then people are like, oh, okay, but we want the Northern Lights in Oslo at that. No, that's not that's not going to work. Different period of time, different place. This is there, that is there. You know, you need to make sure that things remain, you know, quite digestible, I would say. But I would offer a little bit more now than I used to.
And would you cold call someone or
No.
email?
Well, cold calling has never been a hobby of mine. But if you mean by cold calling, reaching out to people on social media, cold social calls, that I can do. So basically, reaching out to people I'm somehow connected with on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, that I will do. But briefly, you know, you just follow each other. You might send an introduction message. Oh, you know, this person or that person. I've been following what you do. You know, really great things. I loved your article on this or that. You know, I'm in Norway. If you ever need anything in Norway, let me know. You know, and then if they say, oh yeah, really. Oh, that's exciting. Then you can even suggest to have a call, to have a presentation about what you really do.
Yeah.
So that I do. Calling, like, that's so, I don't know, 1992.
That's a good approach. No, believe it or not, I get now, I get very interesting requests, like, for media coverage. Of course, we're a different business, but yes, it's very interesting how people call today.
Yeah, I've noticed you shared some of those, and if it's just too ridiculous, don't start on it. Like don't waste your time. I mean, I agree with everybody that education is a very big part of our job, but it's not the core part of our job. We are not here to educate the entire world on what kind of services that you can use in your business life, you know. So you need to kind of find invest the time that you consider is appropriate for each request.
Yeah, absolutely. And for your clients as well. The next question, if by now we have any questions from the audience, I'm sure Sabrina, she must have a question. I see Sabrina, she's on the
Hey, Sabrina, she's yeah, thinking about it, mulling it over.
Yeah. So ask your questions now. A pitch is not often received by the final decision maker. How to make sure the most important elements get passed on? How do you get to the decision maker?
That's a tricky one, because if you're working with a middle person, an agency, or even a person within the company, the client company that is handling the event, they do not want you to go directly to the decision maker, because that would just be unethical. You know, you don't go behind the middle person to reach the end decision maker. So what you need to do is really convince that middle person. They need to be super excited about what you offer to go and deliver that message. And oftentimes it can be actually something very personal, you know, just how good of a connection you've built with that person. That will make all the difference. If you are the one person that has a deeper connection with them compared to 3-4 other people pitching for the same thing, they will automatically be more inclined to push forward your ideas, because, you know, it's a person-to-person business still. So
Absolutely.
find something to connect with that one person you are talking to, and if you can figure out some additional information on your own about the end decision maker, or what would, you know, rock their boat, or ask the person you are dealing with directly as well. What is it really, do you think, that will make them decide positively? What is it that I can help you with, or I can offer that other people cannot? Like your one thing. If you had to name one thing that you believe your boss or whoever decides is going to love, what is it? You know, be transparent, ask the questions, try and get as much information as possible, and then convince that person that they are doing a great job, and you know, you trust that they will deliver your proposal as it is intended.
I remember being in one agency just like for a week because it was a very busy period, so I had to help them. And I remember like the boss knew already which suppliers they wanted, but me, when I came there to help out, they wanted to have more quotes. So it's very, very difficult. The middle person can be the nicest person and like you as much as you want, but if the final person has already the decision and the decision is made,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, of
really,
course.
really hard.
I remember also from our talk about incentives, I mentioned this. You can be working on a project for a year, for a very long time, and have what your middle person says is a 95% chance of confirming. And then the decision maker walks in and just saw something on TV, or experienced something, or read something in a magazine, and goes into an entirely different direction. And they don't care how much time you spent on it. You know, it might just be on a whim.
Yeah, yeah.
Sabrina, that
Yeah.
is very lovely of you to say.
Yeah, so
Like,
Heidi, you have already one
Sabrina.
client from today. And question from Sabrina, how do you how much how do you know how much info or knowledge, sorry, the question is
If
structured.
the info knowledge you're providing is
Yeah, how
enough,
do you know that
um,
the info knowledge you're providing is enough?
it never is. That's my immediate answer to that, because we know a lot of stuff. We have so much information about our own services, our own destinations, you know, everything we do. And even, you know, when it comes to your work, Sabrina, or my work, there is so much that you would like your client or potential client to understand, but there is not any chance to communicate all of that information. It's impossible. So we have to do our best to be concise and attractive in what we present. It might not always be exciting for a client to go too much into detail either, because it will get complicated for them. It's just about demonstrating the value in a way that they immediately see, this is what I want, this is what I need, this will make me look good, this will improve my business, this will make me help reach my goals, etc. From my perspective as a DMC, I have to remember in many cases that some bits of information are still important. You are so used to it that you know, you consider it a given for you, but that doesn't mean that the client knows what you're talking about. It might be something really simple. Like an example for me would be that in a high-level luxury hotel in Norway, you might not necessarily have a porter service porterage for your suitcases, because it's about the mentality. It's a different culture. You know, small things that people don't expect or take for granted that you have to share information about are quite important. But in the bigger picture about your service, focus on what they really need and what answers their questions, rather than giving too much information. And we've gone into that topic a little bit with Irina. I mean, it's not our job to educate. You educate for a certain part, to enter with your services into a market that is perhaps unknown for the client you are talking to, but it's not our job to fully educate them on what is available out there, because, you know, we have actual work to do.
Yeah. Yeah. just a comment from Sabrina. Purely, she will work with you purely due to experience I had with her during the Nordic Choice Hotel Fem trip, and I want to say that you can watch it on Sabrina's YouTube channel, Hot Hospitality Exchange, and on Heidi's YouTube channel, The Mice Guru. It was a very fun trip. Yeah, I wasn't there,
It was so
but
great
yeah, the highlights were amazing. Yeah,
it was great to have you there, Sabrina, really, and thank you so much for your trust and for all the nice words you say about me.
Yeah, maybe just a really brief background why it was such an interesting trip, Heidi, and you spoke about it on the incentive part, is combining the city incentive with some adrenaline activity that you did, the urban, how does it call exactly? The urban...
Holmenkollen? The ski jump, you mean?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see, very unique. So today people, when they go on incentives, they want some adrenaline driven incentives. So it was very interesting concept that you designed. Yeah, and Sabrina is adding, with pitching, it's so hard to find that fine line between showing what you know and can do, but not everything. And I think for that purpose, social media is so great, because you can post anything that you do, your past projects, your expertise, you can actually show on social media, and that's how you actively also acquire your clients. And then at the moment they come to you, they know already what you've done. So, and then they come to you to the specifics, and maybe they can mention something from social media that you've done. So that's the best.
Yeah. They might get inspired with something you don't expect, you know, a small thing you posted on social media that you didn't really think about in terms of a specific request, and then they see it and they'll be like, oh, but that looked really cool, can we do something like that?
Yeah. What is the name of this red floating suit you did in Norway, Heidi?
It's actually a survival suit. So it's what is officially used in the maritime industry and you know, oil and gas industry. It's a floating suit for rescue operations. So now in specific locations, we have that chance to just go floating. I'm actually considering to bring it into another destination as well. It's fun.
It's fun. It's visual. It's just perfect for social media, and people who see that, hey, I want to do this because this is so cool. And
I want to look like a Teletubby. I had a lot of comments on the picture on Instagram. Yes, that people wondered, what is this Teletubby outfit and what are you doing? And so I talked about it a lot. So basically we just wore a survival suit, went on a boat, and then jumped in the water and floated in a tidal current. Basically, you know, you float on your own and you just really relaxed. It feels a little scary in the beginning when you start moving and you don't really know how to control your movement. You can't really. But then
that's how social media works. It's just amazing. Another addition from Sabrina, very key point, Irina, our biodata and resume is pretty much all available on our social media. So what you offer additionally is just the pricing and specific details, not more. That's very true. Yeah. How you can work with the client specifically and add value to them. Yeah. Excellent. So that's all from my side. We are speaking already for 50 minutes. So it was very interesting chat. Very, very good points made. Definitely. We'll try to make a write-up at some point. If you have any questions to Heidi, don't hesitate to contact her on the Mice Guru and the Mice Guru official. Any other ways people can get in touch with you, Heidi?
Everywhere. I'm on all social media at the Mice Guru. My email address, heidi@themiceguru.com. You will find my link tree as well on Instagram, you know, with everything from YouTube channels to TikTok. So it's readily available for you to connect with me in whichever way you want.
Excellent. So send Heidi your questions or requests for Norway. That would be better. So Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and we'll be back at some point with Heidi again, I guess, on Instagram Live, right? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi, so much, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Irina. Thanks, everyone.
And for the questions. Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.